Hey guys, this is the Rant Kid here, but not 100% the Rant Kid. The only thing I have on is like the Rant Kid hat because the camera, makes my hair look some kind of way. Yes, I know it looks a little messy. I'm gonna get a haircut soon. But anyways, this is a discussion time. I haven't done one of these in a very long time, mainly because a lot of people that saw it probably didn't care for it. So now I want to bring it back to make the channel a little bit more diverse than it kind of was. So, anyways, I'm going to be talking about a movie that I saw way back when I was like 6 years old, and a movie that a lot of people say during like cartoons, CN Real period from 2007 up to 2013, if I'm correct, that like a lot of people really don't like that much, and it's Reanimated. Now, for those of you that have never heard of the movie, it's basically about a kid that he just lets people take advantage of him, and he's just being such a, I don't know, I guess the internet would call him a cuck. I wouldn't. So he gets into this accident where, well, I guess he's running from some guy, and then he gets hit by a train, and then his brain is replaced by a famous cartoonist, and the only thing that like some of the stuff that he can see is just a bunch of cartoon characters. Only he can see them and hear them and feel them and stuff like that, while everybody else can't. And in the movie, there's a villain that tries to get his brain back, or tries to get his the cartoonist's brain from the boy named Jimmy, and just all this other stuff ensues, and Jimmy becomes famous for a brief period of time, and so on and so forth. Now, I've never really met anybody that actually liked the movie, and I think I'm probably like one of very few people that does, because even at the time when it came out, and I had to correct myself here because I said this came out during the Seeing Real period, which is like 2007 and 2013, or it might be 2006 to 2013, but never mind that though. Just correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But anyways, the movie to me, like when I was 6 and I first saw the movie a few times, I loved the movie. I thought it was great. It was just cartoons and live action, and it was kind of interesting because I was always used to Cartoon Network just showing a bunch of cartoon shows, which is what they were best at that time. Before, like they just released a bunch of these other shows nobody really cared about, such as like Tower Prep and what else? That Super Mountain Fort, whatever show that was. But this is actually one of the very few like movies, like live action movies that they showed that I like besides the Ben 10 one. And now that I'm looking at it since I'm like 17 now, it's not that great as I remember it. It's not that good of a movie. It's okay. It's watchable to a degree. It has a few cringy moments here and there, like some scenes with Jimmy's dad just being a complete goofball. And now I would give the film like a fucking 3 or a 4 out of 10 because it's not that great. It could have been improved. And one of the things that I wish they could have done for the movie is if like the animated parts, like instead of them making it flash, they could have just did it like the traditional hand drawn thing if they're trying to go for this whole cartoon Mickey Mouse esque character that's supposed to be from, I guess, decades before the film. And it's mainly just stuff like that that could have been fixed. The writing could have been fixed here and there. The villain could have been better because near the end he basically just gives out his entire plot, and it just doesn't seem right though. I get that he's supposed to be one of those comedic villains. I like villains like that are just comedic. They're always messing up and are kind of comedy reliefs, if you could call them that. But the villain in this movie really wasn't that good. And also, he did appear in a majority of the episodes from the show that came from the movie, and it was called Out of Jimmy's Head. Now, that show was okay, but it's kind of weird that they replaced the Asian characters with characters that were like black. Not trying to make this a race thing. I know it's 2017, and well, you already know how that's going now. But it's kind of crazy how they did like switch the actors around, and I mean, maybe it was probably something with the actors and actresses didn't want to show up in the show again, but somehow they got the main star, the kid that played Jimmy, to be in the show, obviously. And an interesting fact about that show, it was the only show that was affected during this writers' strike around 2007 or 2008. And once again, just like the movie, when I was like 7 or 6 or whatever, probably both, I enjoyed the show, and I kind of have like no opinion. Well, basically, I can't really have like this second opinion on the show because it hasn't been on the network of like Cartoon Network since 2007, 2008, which was like a decade ago. But if I could try to watch some episodes online, if they could be found, because some of them are a little scarce and hard to find. So I guess from what I can remember from the show, it was in the same vein as the movie. They had the same voice actors from the film, and just like the movie, it wasn't as great as I thought it was back when I was 6. And it still kind of had the same flaws, just like the film. And I'm not. And when I talk, and when I say that, I prefer that they had the characters to be hand drawn and do the traditional animation thing instead of Flash. It doesn't mean like, oh, I'm against Flash. Flash animation is okay, but for the movie and the show, it's okay, but it's not the best I've seen. I've seen like better, and it isn't too many of these so-called like good live action animated hybrids kind of movies like this. But it's unique in its own way. It has its flaws, but it's not too bad of a film. I've seen worser films that Cartoon Network has shown, or just other networks that have shown. It's not the worst movie I've seen, and Out of Jimmy's Head isn't the worst show that I've seen. It's decent, but it's not a classic show. It's not something that people will look back on and say like, oh, this was such a classic show. Oh, this show was just amazing. Like, it's, to me, and just to say something that's kind of like obvious, it's very forgettable. It's a very forgettable show, and the movie is kind of forgettable. I mean, maybe some people will probably remember if you show them a picture of like the poster or a video clip of a trailer if available. But as I said, both the show and the film, they weren't too great, but at least when I was like 6 and 7, I thought it was the best thing in the world. But nowadays, I don't really think that it's that good, and that's what happens because basically when I was like 6 or 7, I don't watch anything animated, even like live action. So that show in the film kind of fit me when I was like little. So yeah, so this has been the Rant Kid. A new rant will probably be here in a few months, few weeks, few days, maybe even a few hours, because I only upload whenever I want to, because my videos aren't as consistent as they used to be in the golden years of this Rant Kid thing from 2014 and 2015. So yeah, so make sure you like, subscribe, comment. Peace.